Are you ready for 73 questions?
Yeah, come in.
Yay.
Sorry, I'm eating a Tic Tac.
No worries. So, how long did it take you to make the new Toy Bastard album from start to finish?
Well, I'm gonna make some tea. It's been 4 years since the last one, but it wasn't a continuous period of work that entire time. So I would say from the time I actually started working on it, it was probably about 2.5 years. The recording took place over about a year, so the rest of that was just writing.
What did you learn from making the album?
I learned a lot about arrangement and production. I took on the task of mixing it myself, and in the process of mixing your own material, you will sometimes hit walls where you want to make something sound better, and you do everything you can in the mixing to make it sound good, and then you realize that in order to make it sound better, you would have to arrange it differently, and the recording itself and the parts would need to be different. And so in the process of the production, I learned a lot about ways that things need to be arranged so that later downstream you have certain options open to you to make them sound the way that you want.
Which song are you most excited to play live?
Probably the closer. And I feel like missing it. Actually, the first and the last songs I feel like would be the most fun to play live.
Ooh. What can audiences expect from a Toy Bastard show?
Lots of lanky guitar solos and fuzz.
What band would you love to go on tour with Toy Bastard?
I'd love to go on tour with Nets or Amel and the Sniffers.
What's your favorite guitar pedal?
Probably the Love Pedal Purple Plexi, because it's beautiful and I've used it for so long now that it's just become really familiar to me and I kind of know it inside and out.
What's the biggest learning experience you've had?
Definitely having to do post-production on my own stuff. Kind of like I said earlier, mixing your own album and having to do all the technical stuff teaches you not just about mixing, but about how to fundamentally put songs together in a way that they sound good later. And I still have a lot to learn about that. I mean, I made a lot of mistakes on this album, and a lot more on the previous one. So every time I do an album, I learn a lot more about that stuff.
When you were a kid, what did you want to be when you grew up?
A musician. And or comedian, actor, fighter pilot, firefighter, genius, inventor. All the, I don't know. Kids don't know what they want.
What's your favorite time of day?
Honestly, I feel like I have hella night owl brain, so I just start feeling a lot more creative when everyone else has gone to sleep, which is really inconvenient if you also like getting up early.
What's a vice you wish you could give up?
Sugar!
What is your idea of the perfect vacation?
Someplace with really, really good food that you don't have to go really far to look for.
Good answer. What would you like to be remembered for?
I constantly am craving that people say that I'm special and unique and different. So I would hope for that.
Excellent.
Seriously, please tell me that.
When are you the most inspired?
Usually right in the morning when I get up, right around the time that I'm in the shower, or at night when I'm trying to sleep and my eyes won't close and my brain won't turn off. But in the midday, I have nothing going on in my head.
What's the best piece of advice you've received?
I don't know. I feel like I've gotten advice on lots of different micro areas, but it's hard to pick an overall best one. I feel like I have learned a lot through listening to people talk about their own lives, through biographies or interview shows, listening to other artists talk about their own struggles and stuff has been really informative.
What do you first notice about someone when you meet them?
The rhythm of their speech and their energy level, and how easy or hard it is to engage with them as a really introverted person like me.
If you could switch lives with one person for a day, who would it be?
Probably someone who doesn't have to do anything, like Josh Brolin or something like that. You just like get a massage and read some poetry and get another massage. And then...
What would you tell your 14-year-old self?
Probably too many things to recount in short form. I would probably say learn to drive, loser, get a driver's license.
What's a movie that always makes you laugh?
Happiness of the Katakuris by Takashi Miike.
What's a movie that's made you cry?
Fire Walk with Me, the documentary Trekkies, the episode Walking Distance of The Twilight Zone.
Best movie you've seen recently?
Lady Vengeance.
What is one talent you wish you had?
I wish I had draftsmanship skills. I really want to draw. It's the first thing I ever took interest in, and I feel like in a certain weird way I was meant to do that instead, but I kind of am living in a weird Watchmen universe version where I got into music instead.
Do you believe people can change?
Yes. There are people in my family who I know have changed dramatically over their lives.
What's the best thing about being 30?
Feeling like the pressure is off for you to live this ideal 20s lifestyle and realizing that you have all the time that you need to just do shit that you want to do. And I don't know, feeling like you're finally in control of your life.
Love that.
And your parents can't tell you what to do.
What TV show are you currently obsessed with?
I haven't been watching that much TV lately, just Star Trek, so I guess I would say I'm currently obsessed with Voyager, because I'm 3/4 of the way through that show now. Before that, it was DS9. I basically haven't watched any TV that isn't Star Trek in about a year and a half.
Cool. What's a book that everyone should read?
The Elements of Style.
Favorite visual artist?
Probably either Francis Bacon or Frank Frazetta.
Favorite writing implement?
Like pen, like hand to paper. I never got on with pencils that well because of the friction. I like really flowy jelly pens.
What's an activity you would recommend to everyone?
Enjoying art in a non-confrontational way and allowing it to just wash over you without feeling like you need to force the experience into some kind of societal, peer-based expectation of understanding it or needing to have an opinion about it that is presentable to other people. This doesn't make any sense. Basically just a more convoluted way of saying, like, use your imagination once a day and you'll be a healthy, happy person.
Leather jacket or denim jacket?
Leather.
Beer or wine?
I'm not that big on either, but I feel like at this point in my life I'm probably more likely to have wine than beer because it's less work.
Blue jeans or black jeans?
Blue jeans.
Window seat or aisle seat?
Window for sure.
Driver or passenger?
Passenger. I fucking hate driving.
Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Vampires or skeletons?
Skeletons!
PC or console gaming?
I've always been a PC brat, snob, elitist, but in my adulthood I've started kind of going back and playing a lot of the games that I didn't have access to when I was a kid, and having kind of a vicarious childhood redemption arc. So I've been actually playing a lot more console games in my elderly age.
You've already answered this, but walking or driving?
Walking.
What's your favorite piece of clothing that you own?
My motorcycle jacket.
What is a trend you'd like to see disappear forever?
Owning enormous dogs in a city.
Who is the musician with the best personal style?
Probably Elton John.
How would you describe your own personal style?
Stephen King protagonist.
Best gift you've ever received?
Probably the 1 week vacation that you got me the first birthday that we were together.
Aw, that's so sweet. How's the tea? That's not a question.
It's really bitter. I fucked it up.
Damn. What's a meal you could have every day and never get tired of?
Probably ramen. Shoyu ramen.
What is your prized possession?
Probably my red 2005 SG Standard, which was the first like real guitar that my parents ever bought me. And I've had it since I was 11, and I've modified the hell out of it. If something ever happened to that guitar, I would be devastated.
Oh. What game can you not stop playing recently?
Resident Evil 0.
Which video game means the most to you?
Probably the original Doom or Quake. Yeah, one of those two.
What book are you reading right now?
Right now, I'm almost done with The Left Hand of Darkness by Ursula K. Le Guin. Is it Le Guin?
Le Guin.
Okay, I heard someone say Le Guin the other day, and it gave me a crisis of conscience.
I think it's Le Guin.
Yeah, anyway, I'm reading that.
What are 3 words to describe living in Seattle?
Expensive, and beautiful.
What are your top 3 horror films?
I really like The Shining. I really like The Exorcist 3. I really like The Innocents by Jack Clayton.
Best movie theater in Seattle?
Central Cinema.
Yay! Best restaurant in Seattle?
Probably, I feel like I've looked like such a weeaboo in this video. I was gonna say Umi Sake House.
What's your coffee order?
16-ounce medium roast black drip.
What are some of your favorite records of the past few years?
I really like Idol's first 2 records a lot. I really like Comfort to Me by Emil and the Sniffers. I really like, there's a big collab record that Pharoah Sanders did with Floating Points and the London Orchestra that's really breathtakingly good. I really like Mdou Mokhtar's 2 first albums. I think all that stuff's really, really exciting.
Best show you've ever been to?
Probably Shellac at the Tractor Tavern. And I got to shake hands with Steve, and I got to get my pee germs on him by accident.
We're not going to go into that story right now.
That's another story for another time.
Favorite show you've ever played?
I feel like every time Car Seat plays the Neptune, it's really uniquely special. I feel like the last time we played the Neptune was really, really great.
Most expensive thing you've ever bought for yourself?
Probably a Prophet 5 synthesizer, which I don't use as much as I should.
Well,
Probably
the next
that.
question is, was it worth it?
It's a beautiful thing, but I feel like it's a little bit wasted on me.
Who's your favorite author?
Shirley Jackson.
If you weren't a musician, what would you be doing for a living?
I'd probably be in game dev. I'd probably be like an environment artist or something, just making boxes and crates all day.
What song would you love to cover?
Sycamore Trees by Angelo Badalamenti and what's his name? Little Jimmy, the jazz singer.
What's a song you know every word to?
Lots of songs. I know all the words to Cortez the Killer by Neil Young.
What's a place that always makes you feel safe?
My house. Scarecrow Video in Seattle. I always go to when I'm down, and it always makes me feel better.
Yay. What animal would you choose to be reincarnated as?
A tree sloth.
How do you usually unwind?
I usually play usually play Dark Souls, which is a little counterintuitive. I actually like making stuff that's not music related. Usually calms me down. I like 3D modeling. I like making levels for Doom. I like making game textures and things like that.
Favorite guitar you own?
Probably my American Professional Telly, which I got for free.
Oh. Who has the best guitar tone?
There's a lot of really good ones that are really different from each other. I feel like Robert Fripp has a really cool guitar tone that feels like every little aspect of it has been obsessively curated over a period of like 40 years. I feel like his feels the most meticulous, probably.
Nice. What guitars and pedals did you use for the new Toy Bastard album?
I used the biggest one I used is my American Telly. I got to use my Les Paul a lot, which I don't play that much. And I've never played it at shows. I never ever gave it a Les Paul. I used those two. I use my 12-string acoustic a lot because I really, really like the sound of 12 strings. Those three are kind of the bulk of it. And then the pedals I have this huge potluck of gain pedals that are kind of floating around all the time. And I kind of take them in and out. And there's a real Tony Iommi Black Sabbath-y inspired one that I used a lot called the Sabracadabra. I used the Big Muff a lot, and I used the JHS Angry Charlie for a lot of the gain tones because it's just a really powerful, flexible, like Marshall in a box type thing.
Nice. Who would be a dream musical collaborator?
Neil Young.
What would you say to someone who wants to make music their career?
I would say give yourself enough room to really retreat from kind of peer expectations and really just listen to a lot of music kind of in a vacuum and try as much as possible to kind of develop a perspective on sounds that are interesting to you kind of without any external peer pressure or external influence, and kind of try to let that develop as uninterrupted as possible. It won't help you make money, but it will help you to have a perspective on, because it's really easy to get bogged down in choices and analysis paralysis and identity paralysis and stuff like that. And I think it's really valuable to just come at everything with a perspective of knowing what you like and what you don't like and having that kind of clear away a lot of the ambiguity of decision making.
Nice. If the new Toy Bastard record was a person, what kind of shoes would it wear?
Just say PF Flyers.
If the new Toy Bastard record went to a house party, where would you find it?
It would be really high and having thoughts about ontological cosmological uncertainties while also kind of having a good time, but also being kind of like, wow, I'm falling down an ontological rabbit hole.
Nice. What's something about yourself that you never want to change?
Wanting to be different, and having a strong sense of, at least I hope, like a strong sense of perspective on things. I have strong opinions about things.
Yay. What's something in your life that you're grateful for?
Getting to be a musician and have a daily schedule that is kind of wildly luxurious a lot of the time in terms of not a lot of daily expectations being placed on me, which is really privileged and lucky.
That's all 73 questions, but we're going to take some fan questions now. So fans would like to know, what was the learning process in terms of sound engineering over the course of creating the album?
It was a constant learning process, and like I said, there's still a lot of stuff I don't know, and a lot of stuff that I still am in the process of learning. I fortunately didn't do most of the actual like engineering. I produced the record, but like I always had someone with more studio know-how kind of on hand so that I didn't have to be like patching things myself, because I wouldn't be able to do that on my own. But it was a lot of taking stuff that I did wrong on the previous record or stuff that I overlooked on the previous record and consciously, using those learning experiences, but then also in the process of doing that, opening up new learning experiences of things that I missed this time that I'm like, oh, okay, the next record I make, I'll focus on this more, or I'll avoid this, or I'll spend more time on this, or whatever.
Which track did you have the most fun making?
Probably the last one, because it came together really quickly and it came together really late in the process, and I feel like it just sort of flowed in a way and it was a style of song I'd never really written before, and it kind of just like came out kind of easily in a way that was really fun.
Nice. Are there any unreleased songs you would consider releasing, maybe on Bandcamp or Patreon?
Yeah, we were actually ahead of schedule recording The War, which never happens to me. Usually you're always behind in the studio. But we did like a surf track that I kind of had like in the drawer that we were ahead of schedule, so I just kind of like pulled it out and like taught the band how to play it in like 3 hours. And that, it turned out real cool, but it didn't really fit on the album thematically or pacing wise. So it'll probably end up being like a single or something like that. But I really would like to put that out because it's very cool and very fun.
Nice. One of the people you thank in the credits of The War is the historian Paul Fussell. How did his writing influence the development of the album?
I read a bunch of books of his, and they were a huge influence on my first album. I thanked him on that one too. And I just find that when I'm writing stuff, this is going to sound really like artsy fartsy, but I feel like I am almost like more influenced by authors when I'm writing stuff than I am by like other rock groups. Like music wise, I'm obviously thinking of other bands that I like, but when I'm thinking in terms of like theme and lyrics and stuff like that, I feel like books have a bigger influence on what I'm thinking about than like lyrics that other bands have written. And I just find that his books come up the most for me when I'm writing lyrics, because like nominally he writes about like the Great War and stuff like that, but he's really kind of like a social critic, kind of like a Mark Fisher type figure, and so his stuff always ends up crisscrossing with like art and culture and sociology and linguistics and stuff like that, and that kind of juncture of like culture and history and art and historical events and all that kind of is like real. I always end up thinking about it a lot when I'm writing lyrics.
Any other specific inspirations for the album?
I was listening to a lot of Sun, which you can definitely tell on the third track. And I actually used a Sun amp. I really, really wanted to use a Sun amp on that track, and I got to, and I was really excited about it. So that influence is on there, definitely.
Nice. Last question. What instruments can you play?
I can play the electric guitar. I can play the acoustic guitar, which is the same thing. I can nominally play the bass, but I'm not very good at it. I am not skilled at it, but I have played the hammered dulcimer because I own one. I can't really play keyboards, but I can kind of hammer out some weird chords if I'm kind of in a studio environment. And I can sing. And I can kind of play harmonica a little bit.
Yay! Thank you so much, Ethan.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Ethan Ives, and I'm just letting you know that my new album, The War, just came out, and it's on Bandcamp, it's on iTunes. I guess it's not called iTunes anymore. It's on Spotify. It's on all the normal places that you get music. And I really want you to listen to it.